a look back on 2022 and 2023 intentions. It kind of resets my mind in a way. I like to work in categories. For some reason, I'm kind of nervous, but generally speaking, I always have a hard time talking about my achievements. The first one being quite a big one for me, which was I create scenarios in my mind all the time what I want 2023 to look like, which I think is on a lot of people's list. This is something that comes up in therapy at least 1 out of 2 sessions. I'm always comparing myself, or if they like you, is oftentimes more related to word for the year. Today is January 2nd, 2023, and it feels so crazy. 2022, there's a lot to unpack here, but before that, I wanted to wish you guys a very good year for 2023. I wish you health, because I think it's literally at the forefront of everything that really matters. And if you are healthy mentally and physically, you are able to do so many things. And I want a lot of love, a lot of laughter, like deep belly laughter where there's no sound coming out of your mouth. It wheezes, because these are the best. I want you guys to feel safe. I want you guys to feel loved. I want you guys to be happy and to experience everything that you wish to experience in life. Let's hope for 2023 to be a very, very, very good year. Today, I wanted to do what I did last year, which was to do kind of a journaling session, a look back on 2022 and 2023 intentions / wishes. I really, really loved doing that last year. It was a very different way from what I was doing before. I think I was not really looking back and kind of reviewing the previous year. I was just kind of setting goals for that year. It's a clean slate, a fresh start for everything, and I feel like I can kind of try to work on bad habits and work towards things that I want to achieve a bit more. It kind of resets my mind in a way. I've been voice messaging a friend before, and I started talking to her about something that's been bothering me for a few days, something to do with my old job. And I was like, you know what? I think it's just because it's the start of a new year, and I'm just kind of working on everything that's going on in my mind. And every time that happens, I kind of start to look back on everything. And if I don't put it on paper and in my journal and kind of take the time to do it, it kind of comes up in my mind at random times. Like yesterday, it was just like, you know, that strange time right before you fall asleep and you're not totally asleep, but what you think kind of turns into some kind of dream-like situation. That's what happened to me yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I didn't do it yesterday because it was a Sunday and I was enjoying my day with my partner. Today's the day. We have to start doing this today. Also, I have therapy tomorrow, which I think is even more perfect. We're just going to do exactly what we did last year. We're just going to start with looking back on 2021. And I like to work in categories. So I start with my achievements for that year, what I accomplished, what I am kind of proud of, and then I move on to struggles. And so in the struggles is everything that I've worked on that I really had trouble with, or situations when I feel like I didn't feel like I did my best. I don't know, like putting boundaries or answering in the best way for me. Things that I still look back on and feel like didn't do that great of a job there. I could have done something different. Then I do first, which are things that I've tried for the first time, things that I knew I was kind of scared to do, but I still did. And then after that, I move on to memories. And so memories is really anything that I remember from that year that is positive and pleasant. And for 2023, I was about to say 2022, the intentions. I work in categories as well, so I kind of do words for the year ahead. So words I want to live by, then I do personal goals. So those I usually don't share as much because they're like personal, like I said. If it's something too private, I don't share it, but I'm still working on that. Then I do work goals, and then I do kind of YouTube socials, but it could honestly be anything. If you don't like those things, like you could do friendships, you could do travel, anything, honestly. I even think I did more categories, didn't I? Yeah, I did mental health and self-care as well last year. We're going to start. For some reason, I'm kind of nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like 2022 was such a bizarre year for me. Like, so much happened, so much negative and so much growth and positive that I feel like it's just like kind of jumbled in my head, and I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to kind of let it out. Whatever. So we're going to do that. We're going to jump right in and look back on 2022. My goodness. I think I'm done with the part like looking back at 2022. I always leave some space after each category just so that if I think about something else like in the next few days I can add it up. But I found it very difficult this year to write down my achievements. I don't know if it's just because like my brain is a bit slow today, but generally speaking I always have a hard time talking about my achievements because I always think that I haven't done enough or that I could have done something better, and so it doesn't feel like an achievement for me, which is quite bad. It's still something that I'm working on after 2.5 years working with my therapist, but I don't know, today it felt really challenging, so it's fine. Yeah, I'm just going to read you a few things that I wrote. The first one being quite a big one for me, which was deciding not to stay at my old job because I realized that it was not good for me. I still did it even though it really scared me, not knowing what my life would look like after, and kind of leaving also a safe revenue stream, which, you know, a lot of people talk about like becoming like self-employed and everything, but I've done that before. I know how scary it is, and when you leave a job because you don't like the job, and for me it was also a lot of other reasons, it's very hard to come to terms with the fact that you don't know what's coming after. You don't know if the next job that you will find, if you're looking for another office job, will meet all of your needs and criterias. And like my mom always says, like, you know what you have, but you don't know what you would have if you gave that up. So, you know, it was really scary for me, but I still knew that it was not good for me to stay there, and I still decided to change course. The other one for me was to have difficult conversations when I felt it was needed for me, either to set boundaries or to stand up for myself or to quiet my anxious mind. I mean, the first two ones are kind of self-explanatory, but as someone who struggles with her mental health and struggles with kind of having a tendency to do monologues in her head and pretending for them to be conversations, I've really tried last year to, instead of having this idea in my head of how a conversation would go, to just have the conversation with the person and just see what happens, and stop to kind of build up scenarios in my mind when in an actual fact I do not know what that person will tell me or how something would go. And let me tell you, it changed a lot of things for me. So now even like sometimes it's so random. I'm cooking dinner and I have kind of an anxious thought coming through, and it's the end of the day and I'm already tired, so I know that when I'm tired my mind goes on overdrive and creates scary scenarios. So sometimes I'm just cooking dinner and I have something come up, and after a few minutes I notice that it's not going away. I just turn to my boyfriend, or I call him, or I go to the next room, and I'm just like, okay, this is going to be so random, but this is my scenario in my head right now and I need to get rid of it. So, and I just ask the question, or I just say, if this happens, how would you react? What would you do? And it's been really helpful to do that, and every single time he kind of left it off. He answered answers. I'm very grateful that I have a partner who's very, very honest and always says what's on his mind. He never kind of answers what he thinks I would like to hear. And every time he answers something that kind of calms me down, or is like, you're creating a scenario in your mind when the situation hasn't come up yet. So we'll see what happens. But of course, we'll talk about it. Of course, we'll have the discussion together and we'll figure it out. And it's been so helpful. It's actually something I'm very proud of. For struggles, I still wrote down learning to stand up for myself. And this is not really relating to my personal life. I think, like I said, I've had the conversations, I've created the boundaries. I think it was more in my work life. I still sometimes think of situations when I should have stood up for myself. I should have said something. I shouldn't have just been the person who's like either too in shock to answer, or two, that's something that really bothers me about myself, is sometimes I just want the person to like me, or I don't want to create trouble, or I have this thing of thinking that if I answer something in a certain way, like express my feelings, or that I disagree with something, that I am disrespecting the person, when in actual fact that is so untrue. But I still think about situations that were not okay, where I didn't react how I would have wanted to react. So it's definitely still one of my struggles. And the other one is still something that I'm working on, because I realize that it's a very deep-rooted issue, is letting go of fear that something will obviously go wrong. Like I said, I create scenarios in my mind all the time, and I have this thing which my therapist helped me realize that is trauma induced, is that I always think that something will go wrong, that I haven't thought about something, I haven't thought of a worst case scenario, and that it will happen. And it's incredibly difficult to deal with, because I can never think, or at least I have a hard time thinking clearly and like kind of being like, we'll see what happens, it's fine, you don't have to prepare for every worst case scenarios. And I still kind of have a hard time with it, and kind of being okay with just seeing what will happen. I always think like, oh, I'm too happy right now, or everything is going way too smoothly. Something will obviously go wrong, and never knowing when that will happen, because sometimes it just doesn't. We're working on it. For firsts, I'm not able to kind of say anything, but I love doing that. I love seeing like how I've started new things, how I've done things that I've never done before, and I think it's a really good one to start the year with. Memories is, I think, my favorite, because I love kind of listing, okay, when you think of that year, what do you think about? What comes to your mind immediately? And the first one that's coming up for me for the past year was laughing so hard with my coworker, who's become such a dear friend. You know, like laughing so hard that it's like a wheezing sound, like you're wheezing from so much laughter. And I have so many memories of that, like so many moments when that happened, and that's so near and dear to my heart. Then I have so many memories of vacations, like the one we did for our anniversary, the one we did like the weekend in the mountains. Oh, I love that so much. Playing board games with my boyfriend, my sister, and her boyfriend over Christmas. That was so much fun. Reading in the conservatory like during summer and autumn. Also one that my coworker will be so proud of. Eating sushis with her for the first time and becoming obsessed. That was such our thing. Like whenever we would not feel good, or honestly we were just craving it, we're like, do you want to order sushi for lunch? And we would just have sushi and eat. We had kind of a park area kind of far near our work, and we would just go there and eat in front of the mountains and just talk for so long, because our lunch break was an hour and a half. We could not move that around, and just talk and share about our lives and laugh so much. And you know, like, it makes me just warm and fuzzy inside when I think about it. So yeah, I do feel so much better. Like I said, I left some space in case I have other things that I'm thinking about, but I think it's time to move on to 2023 intentions, wishes. I'm not sure how I'm going to word it this year. it's the next day. We are back for part 2, which is going to be 2023 intentions, wishes. Like I said, not sure how I'm going to call it this time. I had therapy this morning, which was really nice. I was able to kind of let a few things out that were on my mind a bit too much. Last night was pretty rough, so that's why I didn't actually continue to film after. First of all, the light got terrible. My boyfriend came home, he had done a little bit of grocery shopping, and then I started not doing great. So I had therapy this morning and it was very much helpful. I feel more clear-headed. So now I feel like I'm more ready to kind of tackle this part of like deciding on what I want 2023 to look like in a way, because I feel like your intentions and your wishes for a year kind of actually definitely shape how the year can go, of course, if you follow that. But I don't put too much pressure on myself, to be honest. I don't like look at the list every single day thinking about like, have you ticked this off just yet? I don't do that. It's just like reminding myself that this is what I wanted to start the year on and doing and improve on. I also realized this morning that I do definitely need a big journaling session because I think I'm overdue one. And do I need a color pen? I'm not sure, because yeah, I think I need one. Like I said yesterday, there are so many things that I need to let out, work on mentally, and we were talking about it with my therapist this morning. And I feel like when you realize that there is kind of a loop going on in your mind of things that you're thinking about or issues that you're dealing with, sometimes all you need to do is kind of put it on paper and just kind of work through it that way, letting it out of your brain, putting it on paper, and either do like just stream of consciousness or look at ways that could be helpful for you to work on. So yeah, I feel like I'm overdue that. 2023 wishes and intentions. I've been able to think about it a bit more since yesterday. I've had kind of like moments of, you know, thoughts and stuff like that of being like, oh, that could be something that I could focus on this year. Let's get cracking. Okay, I'm done. I think I've got all of them down. What I did was, whenever I would think about something that I wanted to work on, that I needed to work on, I would kind of write them down. But also, I thought about kind of like aspects of my life where I don't feel complete, you know what I mean? Like where I feel like it's still a work in progress. And you know, when there's something that needs work, you kind of know how to approach it. You kind of know where you're at fault, where you could do better. So I just try to work around that and be like, okay, this is something I need to work on. How can I improve on it? What do I need to do? And sometimes it's clear and sometimes it's a bit more difficult. So I spent a bit of time kind of thinking about what I could do. I'm going to share a few of them with you. I can't share all of them, but most of them. So here we go. The first one, which I think is on a lot of people's list, is to read more and spend less time on my phone, on social media, on kind of like even my laptop and everything, and just kind of be more in the real world. First of all, I love reading. I love it. But I realize every time at the end of the year that there's so much more time that I could have spent reading than I spent mindlessly scrolling on my phone, on TikTok mostly, or watching a TV show and being on my phone at the same time, or watching a TV show I've watched before, which I know is related to anxiety. So I kind of want to spend less time staring at a screen. The next one is to be more comfortable with not planning, not expecting anything, and just letting go of control. This is something that comes up in therapy at least 1 out of 2 sessions. There's always an aspect where she's like, that's because you love control. That's because you feel like you need to control the situation or something. And that's definitely an aspect of my life where I know that there's a lot of anxiety related to that. Like, as she said, it comes from somewhere. Like, I just don't just love control. There's a lot of things things that I need to work on in my head regarding situations and everything. But like I said yesterday, I think it's also due to the fact that I always expect the worst to happen. So if I'm in control, I'm in control of how things could go, of preparing my brain for certain situations and whatever. But I need to stop doing that because this is really not helpful, and most of the time it causes more anxiety because when I'm in a situation where I'm not in control, I get super anxious. I've improved so much on it, like so much, but we're still working on it. The next thing is, I think I kind of mentioned it a bit before, affirming myself and my personality more. Less comparison, more authenticity and acceptance regarding who I truly am. That's something I've always struggled with. I'm always comparing myself or what I'm doing, my achievements and whatever, to other people that I kind of look up to, which is so bad because it could be someone that I know, but it could also be people that are online, are, you know, like on YouTube, on TikTok or whatever, and I'm just comparing myself so much that I kind of lose the true essence of who I am. I think this was something that was on my list last year as well. I need to check. The next thing is kind of related to that, is to give no importance to what people think of me or if they like me. The people pleaser in me struggles so much with that because I care way too much about what people think of me, of my actions, of my thoughts, or if they even like me. And it's just so stupid because what people think of you or if they like you is oftentimes more related to their own problems and issues that they project onto you and has nothing to do with you as a person. So I need to stop doing that because this is serving no one. The next thing is spend more time in nature. I love being in a forest or in mountains and just like looking at everything. It brings me so much peace, but I realize it's not something that I do enough. So I'm going to talk about it with my boyfriend and be like, you know what, at weekends and whatever, we need to get out more because we love our time at home, but I feel like it would help us to be outside a bit more. That's all I'm going to share for that one. I feel like that was good. I feel like that was really helpful as well. I'm trying to look at what I did last year. Oh my goodness, I forgot to put like things in categories. That's great. I just went with the flow, I think. To be honest, I still kind of did that. But word for the year, I think would be relaxing my mind and whatever. More confidence, let go and enjoy. Yeah. Personal goals, I kind of talked about it. Work goals, I'm not really going to share. YouTube socials, I think just be more consistent, but at the same time kind of having a balance, because that's what I struggled with. Mental health, self-care, honestly, I think I'm at a good point with it. Something I wrote down, which is journal more regularly. I improved myself last year, but I think I still need to kind of have a bit more of a routine with it, or at least kind of it being a reflex. So yeah, overall, I'm honestly pretty happy because I feel like I definitely worked on everything that I wanted last year, and I can tell that I've improved myself over the years. So that makes me feel pretty good. Just think like, as long as you're doing the best that you can, honestly, that's all that matters. That's all I can wish for you. Thank you so much for being here and sticking around. And if you're new here, hi, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you'll join the fam. So yeah, all I can say is I hope you have a very good year and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!